Hello, my yellow pointers. Welcome back to the Yellow Point Podcast. I'm your host, Pricklina, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. If you're wondering what a yellow pointer is, a yellow pointer is someone who chooses to look for the point of light, not someone who pretends that life is perfect or ignores pain or difficulty, but someone who believes that even in difficult seasons, there's still something beautiful to notice. There's always something beautiful to notice, something meaningful to learn, and something worth being grateful and hopeful for. So, if you're here and if you're a part of the Yellow Point podcast community, consider yourself a yellow pointer and consider yourself as somebody who insists on looking at the bright side of every single moment and situation in life. It's almost like the red car theory. And if you're not familiar with the red car theory, it's basically that the moment someone tells you to think about red cars, suddenly you start seeing red cars everywhere. It's not that more red cars magically appeared overnight, it's that your attention became focused on them. And I think joy works the same way. When you intentionally look for joy, beauty, gratitude, and wonder, you start noticing it everywhere. And it has always been there, but you have just trained yourself now to notice it. So every time you see something yellow, even if it's a sunrise or a glimpse of a sunset or a yellow text or a yellow shirt or a yellow pen or anything yellow, just remind yourself that even if you might be going through a moment of pain or difficulty, there's always a bright light at the end of every single situation. So that's what we're focusing on, and that's who we are. Yes, yes. Now that we know what we call ourselves when we're here at the Yellow Point Arena, at the Yellow Point House, at the Yellow Point Podcast. Also, I think this is the perfect time for me to tell you guys why the podcast is named the Yellow Point Podcast. It's not a huge mystery, but my grandmother has a property here in our hometown, a house. She doesn't live here anymore. She lives at the farm. So one of my uncles turned it into a place of business. And at first it was a bar slash tuck shop, basically a one-stop shop for everything. And at first, when it started operating, it was painted yellow. And from then on, it was just called the Yellow Point. If you're from Ocho in Namibia, you know what I'm talking about. And, I just wanted to name the podcast in a way that honored my grandmother because some of the most healing and meaningful conversations I've ever had were with my grandmother and are with my grandmother, especially in her garden. So I just wanted the name to point back to who she is and just something that reminds me of her because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So that is basically how the name of the podcast came about. And for today's episode, we're talking about joy maxing, and I'd love to share with you guys 29 ways that I cultivate joy in my life in honor of my 29th birthday. It's kind of insane to think that I've been on this earth for 29 whole years. And moment of honesty just between us. At first, especially when I turned, let's say, 28, which was last year, I was having so much anxiety about life, and I was thinking that I'm running out of time, especially as someone who is in the entertainment industry, predominantly as a model, and basically as just someone who is pursuing so many different paths in the entertainment industry. I was thinking that I'm falling behind and I'm running out of time and all of the things, but something shifted within me this year. Something so beautiful happened within me. I don't know what it is, but I'm just so hopeful and I'm looking forward to living a long life. And I also realized that 29 is actually very young, despite what the propaganda might be online. 29 is super young, and so there's nothing for me to be anxious about. As long as I'm alive, as long as I'm healthy, and as long as my mind, my body, my soul, and my spirit is in the right place, as long as this life force is flowing through me, there's nothing to worry about. And I think thinking about age and thinking about time and all of that, it just adds unnecessary stress. And stress is not good. Stress is not good. So I'm just grateful for whatever it is that happened within me, whatever shift it is that happened within me. I can't explain it, but I'm just happy that I'm here now, mentally and spiritually and emotionally. I'm just so grateful, first and foremost, to be alive. And I'm just excited. I'm extremely excited about the future. So that's where I'm at. And I know it sounds cliche, but it is true. Age is really just a number. There are people who are older than me who are younger than me in spirit, because youth has more to do with the spirit than it has to do with the number. So even if you're listening to this and you're older than me, you're not running out of time. You have time. As long as you're alive, as long as you're healthy, as long as you're mentally and emotionally and spiritually sharp, as long as you're having the willpower and the ability to get up every single morning and do what it is that you need to do, even if it's just making yourself happy, or even if you just wake up and take a walk that day and get back to the house and do God knows what, you're alive and you're well. That's all that matters. So, as long as you're physically sharp, you're young. So, relax. Okay? I think we should all relax. And that's also a note to myself. So, these are the ways that I choose to joy max. And what is joy maxing? Joy maxing. Hold on. Let's search this. Mm, okay, it says here, joy maxing is the intentional practice of maximizing the amount of joy, pleasure, meaning, and fulfillment you experience in your life. There's aura maxing, there's looks maxing, all kinds of maxes, sleep maxing, health maxing. So, joy maxing means consciously arranging your life to create more moments of joy. How beautiful is that? I like that. I'm going to focus more on creating more moments of joy in my life. And I'm inviting you guys to do the same. I wrote everything down, not necessarily in a concise or precise list, but we're just going to breeze through all of these points. The first way that I like to cultivate joy in my life is music and movement. First and foremost, I love to dance, I love to listen to music, I love to sing, and it's quite criminal actually that I haven't played a single song on this podcast. I'm just scared of the copyright people, really. But we're gonna fix that very soon. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna start off the episodes by setting the vibes musically, and we're gonna vibe out and vibe into the episodes, you know? It's gonna be so much fun to listen to music and discuss music and just art in general. So I look forward to that. Next on my list, I wrote working out and doing yoga. Working out has become an essential part of my well being, my overall well being. I must work out. I must work out at least 3 days a week. And although I haven't done yoga in quite a while, I've been working out quite consistently, so that's good. I love to take long walks as well. I take these walks and I pretend like God Himself is walking next to me, or I talk to myself as if I would be talking to a therapist, and it works. It really clears my mind, and it's so good for me. Sometimes I have to look behind and make sure that there's nobody behind so that they don't think I'm crazy. And even if they do think that, it's okay because, it works. It really works. Next, I love to sleep and rest. I love to sleep. My family calls me Sleeping Beauty sometimes. And what else can I say? It's called beauty sleep for a reason. So, you know, I love to take baths as well. I love a good warm bubble bath, especially in the wintertime. It's just unfortunate that we don't have a bathtub here at home. But when I used to stay with my aunt in Windhoek, I would take such long bubble baths. And my cousins would say, Preklina, you're going to be the last one to take a bath because you take forever. And I wasn't mad at that arrangement because if I was the last one to take a bath, I could take my time and there was nobody waiting for me to finish. So that was really good. I love to sit in the sun as well. I love to read in the sun. And this morning I was drinking my tea in the sun. It's not that hot in the mornings and it's winter right now, so it doesn't burn as much. And they say that a healthy amount is, let's say, maybe 15 minutes. So I think I get quite a decent amount of sunshine every single day. So don't be scared of the sun, people. Don't be scared of the sun. It's good for you. Vitamin D is good for you. Next, I wrote food. I love food. Food is, it makes me happy. I love to eat food, contrary to popular belief about models and slim people. We are actually the ones that eat the most. So, yeah, joy isn't always about the big excitement or the big exciting things. Sometimes joy is just simply feeling good in your body. And as somebody who had major anxiety issues just in general, it was important for me to cultivate systems that make me feel safe and secure and grounded in my body. So that's what I've done, and I'm a better and I function better because of those systems. So, yeah. Next, I have creating any kind of creation, writing, singing, modeling, photo shoots, anything that has to do with creation. I love it. It brings me so much joy. Consuming art also gives me joy. Listening to music, like I mentioned, watching movies, or just appreciating art in general. Next is reading and learning new things. That's self explanatory. I love to cook and pretend that I'm on a cooking show as well. There was a season in my life where I was obsessed with watching cooking shows, especially the Bon Appetit Kitchen on YouTube. And I also watched a lot of Food Network. It's just so therapeutic to watch someone cook and talk at the same time. So I like to pretend that I'm on a cooking show. And I think I'm actually going to start something like that on YouTube because it's just fun. And food is such a big part of our daily life. So why not? Another thing is makeup. I love makeup. Makeup takes your confidence from 10 to 200,000. Not that you need makeup to feel good about yourself, but for me personally, it was such a gratifying feeling to finally master the art of makeup because there was a time that I couldn't even draw an eyebrow. And now I'm becoming somewhat of a pro, if I do say so myself. So it makes me happy just to see that progress that I've made and something that I taught myself, especially being a model. Sometimes you want to do photo shoots and sometimes you can't afford a professional makeup artist, but at least you know how to put on something. So I like that. It's such a useful skill. So it makes me happy. And creativity isn't a luxury, it's one of those ways that you experience God. It's one of the ways that I experience God in beauty and self expression, So, yeah. How else does this princess cultivate joy in her life? Shopping. I could shop until I drop, and that's pretty much all I can say about that. I love to do my own pedicures as well. It's almost a little feminine habit that I like to live for myself. I like to get my manicures done professionally, but when it comes to pedicures, I love to do that by myself. It's just a little self care moment and just a moment to spend time with myself. So I enjoy it so much. I love to clean as well. I feel like I talk a lot about cleaning, but it's very therapeutic. People always talk about runner's high, but cleaner's high is something we need to discuss more often. It's just so satisfying because they say that cleanliness is close to godliness, and I truly believe that. It's just insanely satisfying, but I have to do it on my own terms. I have to do it when I want to, I think we can all agree to that. For example, when you want to wash dishes and you're planning on doing dishes, but it infuriates you when someone tells you to do dishes, but when you decide to do dishes, it's a different ball game. So that is that. I love to seek beauty in ordinary moments as well, and I love to surround myself with beautiful things. I love to slow down and take my time as often as I can. That's probably one of the most important things to me. I can't rush and I can't feel rushed. So I have to make sure that I always have enough time to take my time, because it's quite anxiety inducing to always be in a hurry and to always rush. So even when I'm walking somewhere, I love to take my time. Even when I'm staring my tea, for instance, something as simple as staring my tea, sometimes you are so absent in that moment and you just want to get it over and done with. But these days, I'm intentionally reminding myself to slow down and take my time and to be present in the moment. And you don't need a luxury anything to experience beauty. You can create it in everyday life. So that's where we're at. Next, I love to spend time with friends and family, and I love to have meaningful conversations. I love being of service to others. There's just something about acts of service that really makes me happy. And I love children. I love children. I'm known as the family babysitter. When I was younger, I would travel to the coast. I would travel to Swakopmund just to babysit my nieces and my nephews. And I was happy to do it. So I love it. I love it. And I love accidental flirting as well. When you meet a stranger and you just have a really fun conversation. Humans are wired for connection. So some of life's greatest joys come from being seen and seeing others. And when I go to the gym, there's this group of kids that run towards me and they give me a giant hug, a giant group hug. And that has become the best parts of my day. Like, it's just such a beautiful thing that I experience. I could be having a terrible day and then I just pass by that street and then I get a giant dose of love, and it's just so amazing. I really appreciate it. And I love that children don't hold back anything. Like, one of the little boys asked me, "Are you going to the gym?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, is that why you're so skinny?" And I just chuckled and I went about my day. So it's just moments like that that really make life worth living. Another way that I love to joy max is to spend as much time as possible offline. Social media is a part of my job, so any moment that I can spend off of social media, I take it, I grab it with both hands. And these days, people associate being offline with not being well mentally. They say that if you're not posting as often, it's because you're not really doing great mentally, which I think is so backwards in a way, because how has social media become such an integral part of our lives and our existence that when you're not on it, there must be something wrong with you. I don't think that's accurate. And so I love being offline. I love being disconnected. I love not knowing what's going on. And it's just really good for my peace of mind and mental clarity. So I like that. I love to spend time alone. I love to spend so much time alone. My family says, "You're here, but you're not really here." And sometimes I can get really lost in my own bubble and I tend to isolate myself. And sometimes it's not healthy because sometimes the people close to me think that I'm avoiding them or I don't want to spend time with them. So I have to constantly remind them that it's just in order for me to show up for them fully, I have to spend as much time as possible by myself. You guys can probably hear my voice in the background, but we're just gonna keep it rolling. I love to spend hours in silence as well, which ties into spending time alone and being in solitude. I love not speaking. And as somebody who studied law, it's quite interesting that speaking is my least favorite activity. And as somebody who's ironically, someone who's ironically recording this podcast, and somebody who's a Gemini, shout out to all my Geminis. It's Gemini season, by the way. I don't love speaking. I express myself better when I'm writing as well. Let's just wait for the noise to calm down a little bit. Yeah, I love not speaking and I like being around people who don't take that personally. I like being with people who are comfortable being in silence. We don't always have to feel the silence. We don't always have to say something. If there's nothing to say, there's nothing to say. And I used to judge myself about that so much. I used to think that it's uninteresting to be quiet and it's uninteresting to not always have something to say. But I realized that it's more interesting to it's more interesting and real to be quiet when you don't have anything interesting to say instead of trying to manufacture something to say just to sound interesting. You know what I mean? So I embrace silence. I love silence. And I love to introspect as well. I love to think about my emotions and my thoughts. And I love being kind, especially to myself. Since I started making a conscious choice to be more sweet towards myself, I experience more sweetness in the world as well. I used to be not so sweet to myself, let's just say that. And I think most of us can get caught up in being hyper critical of ourselves, but the kinder that I am to myself, the kinder that I am to others as well. And I just love that. I love thinking thoughts that are beautiful, plain and simple. I love thoughts that are beautiful. And I love being my best friend. I love thinking about myself and holding myself in the highest regard. Some people think that joy is found in constant stimulation, but I discovered that joy is found in quietness as well. So that is it. And last but not least, I love nature. I love God's creation. God is the greatest artist of all time, which brings me into the last point, which is travel. I love to travel. Travel just changes your perspective and outlook on life, and you experience so much diversity and beauty. Travel and nature remind us how vast, beautiful, and dare I say miraculous life really is because there's just so much to taste and see and hear and experience and feel. It just makes life so beautiful and exciting. So that is it. And those are the 29 ways that I like to joy max. And let me know in the comments in what ways you guys create sunshine in your lives. and I'll be sure to read every single one of your comments. New episodes will be released every Sunday from this moment forward because I just love the vibe of a Sunday. It's chill, it's laid back, it's relaxed, and that's the vibe of this podcast. So, why not? See you guys next week. Same time, same place. Well, maybe different time, but definitely same day.